Hey, hi everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for taking out your precious time and join me here today. Okay, so my name is Suman, as Sanaj rightly mentioned. So I'm an iOS developer here at GeekyAnts. Okay, so today we gonna talk about building next generation of apps for Apple ecosystem, and also we will discuss about the uh, main pointers or rather the key takeaways for us developers from the WWDC event 2024. Okay, so I'll just set up a context about what WWDC is all about. Okay, so as we all might have heard about WWDC, it's a worldwide developer conference. It's an annual event which is held by Apple where they showcase all their new software updates, technologies, update for their various platforms and products. So, similar to every year, Apple has come out with updates for all of their major platforms like iOS 17, iPadOS 18, sorry, my bad, iOS 18, iPadOS 18, macOS Sequoia, and visionOS 2, and for other platform as well like tvOS, watchOS, etc. So, today we are gonna explore on this updates that were that haven't released it yet. Okay, they are supposed to be released by this fall. Okay, in this event, they have announced these will be the upcoming releases that we can walk through. And like for developers, the beta versions and everything is available within the Apple developer portal, so they can log into there and check out whatever the updates that is there. So we will talk about whatever the major framework and API changes across the different platform. Okay, and equip you to build next generation app for Apple ecosystem. So let's get started. So in this year, Apple is more emphasizing, rather I would say, strongly emphasizing on security, privacy, and user personalization, and they would use an intelligent feature that would adapt to user requirement and needs and preferences for the various platform they are in with, okay, across all the ecosystem. So this is achieved, and also this is one of their major announcement this year called Apple Intelligence. Apple Intelligence is an artificial intelligence platform that is being deeply integrated within Apple devices or any hardware devices that we use. Okay, so it is designed to be a personal intelligence system that integrate with all the platforms and the hardware. Okay, and it would provide user a contextual based information. Okay, so on a high level, this Apple Intelligence uses a semantics index which identifies whatever the relevant personal data that is available within the device itself. Okay, so once it have the access to the data, okay, so it feeds its generative models these data, which actually set up the personal context for individual user. Okay, so whenever the user is interacting with the device, uh, so this generative model help out to get the context and produce result which is best suited for the user. So we might think like if this comes with all the devices, even if for uh, Apple watches or iPhones for that matter, how would this models would be fitted to generate all this data because the size could be right. So mostly all this data generation and processes run entirely on device itself. And for very on for scenario where the data model which is required to which is could be a uh, could be lengthy, that could not be fitted within the devices. For those scenarios, Apple uses their own server. So basically, this server, sorry, my bad. So this server is also built on Apple Silicon. Okay, why they are coming out with this? Because this is concerned with the privacy policy that Apple is setting up within their ecosystem. So using this, like whenever there is a requirement when the data could not be processed on device, so this data has been sent to Apple private cloud compute server. Okay, and whatever the data that is related for the processing, only those information has been shared. So this minimalize the amount of data that has been sent from the physical devices to the Apple server as well. And all of this are made kept with user privacy as the main focus. So Apple Intelligence, to an extent, also use the different conversational AI tools that is available, the open source tools like ChatGPT or Google Gemini as well. But whenever like they want to access these external tools, they come up with the user consent first. If this data, let's say like the user is performing any search operation or anything within the device, so whatever the data that has been generated from the device itself, if the Apple Intelligence thinks that the data can be whatever the result that has been shown, that is the better version is available from the open source tools. So those can be used over here as well. Okay. However, there is a catch to it. This Apple Intelligence feature will be available for the most advanced Apple Silicon devices. Okay, starting from A17 Pro, that is coming up for uh, iPhone 15 and 15 Pro Max, and the M1 family laptops like Apple Air or MacBook Pro. Okay, so moving on, like this year also marks a new paradigm shift to the AR/VR world. Okay, we already know about VisionOS that released last year. So VisionOS along with Apple Vision Pro, which actually released only a couple of months before, like this year February, the Apple Vision Pro actually launched for all the users. Okay, so they are moving into making a very strong ground in AR and VR world with Apple Vision Pro and Vision OS as well. So this year, what they're actually putting into Vision OS is they're coming up with new set of APIs frameworks which will actually change uh, the interaction model of the application that comes up with the Vision OS. Okay, so they are coming up with new gestures which actually helps for navigating for different application window and component altogether. They are putting uh, different machine learning tools within the cell, and also for Apple Vision Pro, they are taking it forward to different continents as well. Okay, including China, Japan, and several others. Okay, which didn't get through the first version of Apple Vision Pro. Uh, moving forward, so coming into iPhones or iPhone iOS apps. So as we are just discussing about the privacy and processing of data, keeping the user in the center of all interaction. Okay, so Apple is more focused for processing the data directly into the devices, the iPhone itself. So that itself minimize the communication between the device and Apple server. Okay, and also how the data is being accessed by different third-party apps. Like we are whatever the apps that we build for uh, iPhones. Okay, these apps actually interact with system level resources or other apps that is available within the devices. So they are putting privacy into the main concern and limiting this access to all the system resources and any third-party apps. So along with Apple Intelligence, this uh, changes in iOS 18 comes with a major revamp for Siri. When we're interacting with Siri or for any other apps for that matter, like writing or communication apps that we have in our devices, like messaging apps or mails. So these apps uh, are get powered by Apple Intelligence. So they actually provide different writing assistance for them. Like whenever we are writing any component, whenever we are uh, adding any content within messages or mails or note for that matter. So through Apple Intelligence, they provide different proofreading, rewriting component. Okay, normally what we see in different AI tools that is available. Okay, along with that, like this also a new app and the setup framework that is introduced this year called Image Playground. Okay, so this Image Playground took the leverage of Apple Intelligence and it creates different images within just a few words. Okay, we just all we just have to mention is about few words how the image should be, and it will generate those images for us. I guess this talk is getting into more descriptive rather than coding examples. So guys, please bear with me for that. Okay, so so moving forward, like for iPhones, they are also revamping the control center. So whenever we come into the control center, we see whatever the default control that the system provides. So now Apple is revamping this control center with custom controls. Okay. So whatever the third-party apps that we build for Apple platform or rather for iPhones, so those app can leverage this custom control center APIs that has been exposed and add their customized control within the control center. So let's say you have some functionality within your app and using this customized controls, you can perform different set of operation like performing some task or adding some operation within it. Okay, and this custom control can also be available at the lock screen, like how we do see the camera and notifications within app. So this control center APIs will be a game changing, like how we already have seen app intent or app clip APIs, like how they are whenever the user is performing a very specific task, they don't have to open up the entire app or interact with the app itself. They can just open up the app intent and work along with it. Okay, so apart from these, like what a major update that is also there for iPhones is like we already might have seen with iOS 17 that there are some API changes for privacy policies as well. Like whenever any app that try to access any user-centric data like photos, for example. So for that, like we have alerts that asks the user consent. Should we allow access to entire photos library or should we allow for a section of photos, a selective photo? The similar feature they are putting into context API and context framework as well. So whenever we have any list where we should display the available context within the device. So the user can choose what are the contacts they want to share with that particular app. Okay. And even if there is a requirement of adding any search functionality for the contacts, so that through that, like whatever the search contact that has shown up, and even it is not added previously, so those contacts can also be added on the go itself. Okay, they don't have to provide access to the entire set of things. And sorry, I don't understand. Sorry for that. I think I'm well. Okay, so for that, another important announcement that comes along with iOS and macOS together is iPhone mirroring. Like this iPhone mirroring is an app to macOS 15, that is macOS Sequoia. So using this, you can access your iPhones and work with all the app that is installed within your iPhone through iPhone mirroring. And this also support iPhone notification directly received within your Mac as well. So within your Mac, we can already see whatever the notification that is coming up within our system, right? So along with these, the iPhone notification can also be clubbed along this. So these are the new features that is coming up for iPhone or iOS. So with this changes, like user can the third-party application or different apps can leverage this functionality and features and work with it. Now coming into Vision OS, like whatever the different updates do we have is they have improved the geometric uh, tracking, the hand tracking or movement tracking to an extent. Okay, so this actually boost the performances of VisionOS app to an extent how the user could perform tracking through gesture and recognition through their hands, heads, and even blink of an eye. Okay, so they are coming up with custom controls that enables us with a different set of APIs for using this tracking. Along with that, we have improvement for 3D object tracking. So using the 3D object, whatever the surrounding that we are into, whenever we are using the Vision OS, using the Apple Vision Pro devices, so this changes, this 3D object tracking enables not only to view the real world that is within around surrounding. Okay, so this entire setup operation with 3D object tracking and uh, uh, recognition. So let's say we have some physical object within our front, and if we want to add something onto it using the AR or virtual reality, we could do that. So this transition has been made really smooth with this update. Coming into the real world mesh generation, which is also related to this particular feature. So this enables object tracking and rendering the surrounding environment of the user as well. So apart from this changes, visionOS 2 also includes certain enterprise APIs. So this APIs, especially like for game development, we have a new framework called Tabletop Kit. So this uh, is like for all the apps or games which actually placed on a tabletop. Okay, so this is a multiplayer shared environment game that can be developed and leverage this particular framework. Okay, and in terms of enterprise API, like they are adding some key features in camera access and image processing, mostly using coreml for generating the models and added different layers into it. So these APIs are not available for general users. Only this is for the enterprise client that they are using this particular version of VisionOS. Apart from this new frameworks, they have also revamped their uh, volumetric API to an extent. So in the first version of VisionOS, like we mostly had this implementation of application where, so when it actually started, like whatever the apps that were existing in iPhone or iPad, so they just converted into a visionOS app directly. Okay, so using whatever the tools that is available uh, from Xcode. Later on, they converted into the visionOS using this visionOS APIs. So those were mainly restricted to the windows, having different windows and interact with the app. So now they're coming up with changes in volumetric API where they could actually see the volume in a 3D dimension within the app itself in a different window. Okay, so this change marks a new open up new dimension of developing apps for visionOS and Apple Vision Pro. So coming into Swift, so this year marks revolutionary for Swift as well because it's a 10-year anniversary for Swift programming language. Okay, so in Swift, starting from 2024, we have seen multiple changes coming through. Okay, in this year also they are adding different changes into the framework library as well as language level. On a high level, on apart, one of the major changes that they are introducing this year is having complete concurrency support into Swift programming language by default. So previously they had concurrency support within the Swift programming language. Now in this year, they are enabling database condition change during the compilation time as well. So previously, whatever the uh, multi-threaded work that we do in any Apple environment, be it an iPhone application, iPad application, or a Mac application. So uh, we have a certain framework for those as well, but they are bringing concurrency to Swift programming language itself using async and await functionality, which has been introduced since 2029, I guess, so from Swift 5.5. And they are now continuing with that concurrency model and giving it full support for checking the database condition during the compilation time itself. And also, this changes for Swift programming language updates Swift package manager as well, but depending the package dependencies. So with support from multi platform development that enables Swift packages to work with not only in Mac environment, also in Windows or Linux environment as well. So this language feature and this changes will enable more and more contribution into open source platform and for other platforms, not only restricted from the Apple platform in terms of Swift packages or for Swift as well. So moving forward, okay, so we all might have knew that SwiftUI is the latest UI framework that we use for building apps in Apple ecosystem and all the platforms that we work with. Okay, so SwiftUI is also getting different enhancement in terms of framework level changes and API level changes uh, for different existing frameworks. But what stand out is preview updates. So with Xcode, it is having what build configuration that actually interoperable with the running environment. So what it actually means is like whenever we build any UI interface within Xcode for SwiftUI, we could see those layout parallelly in Swift previews. Now the Swift preview is also had to be built and linked together to generate these previews. But when we run the application, again there is a building process that goes into. So with this change in Swift 6, this dynamic linking actually provides Xcode to use the same build and same build artifacts in preview and in runtime environment as well. So this actually enables app development faster within Xcode, and this rebuilding process increase the productivity as well. Apart from previews, we have some advanced UI features for any navigations and tabs layout. So for tabs layout, we do see there is a significant change in iPad OS. So it is uh, earlier, like whatever the tabs that we see, so those are mostly tightly put it into sidebar or in top bar on a or bottom that where we used to see. Now these tabs are like a floating tab bars for iPads. This new navigation stack actually changes into a sidebar when minimized, and when it is closed, it is shrinked into a flexible tab bar. So this gives the user to option to customize this tab bar according to the preference, and this change will be reflected to all the system apps like Notes, uh, uh, Mails, etc. for iPads. Okay, so these are the changes that is coming through from SwiftUI in this year. Coming to testing, okay, so we all know like XC text cases. That is the most that is the testing framework that we use within Apple ecosystem or Apple platforms to build or write test cases. Okay, so this year Apple introduced a new testing framework called Swift testing. So using Swift testing, so this reduces the uh, syntactical changes or the boilerplate code that we have to write, okay, for generating those test cases and writing those test cases. Okay, so it's basically the same syntax and functions that we write within any application. Okay, so Swift testing actually replaces different assert method that we normally use with uh, Swift testing or unit testing. Okay, there are certain list of methods like which assert to, assert equals to, assert throwing errors, or things like that. So they are summarizing all this within a very easy solution, like whatever function that we write, so we add and then test with it, and whatever the value that we are expecting, we can use hash expect. So these are the macro values that we use to generate or perform this task. Okay, so Swift testing is also aimed to be a cross-platform application, and this will also work in Linux and Windows as well. Okay, and this support is integrated not only for Xcode but VS Code as well. Moving forward, so these are the different topics and uh, key events, key announcement that were made in that were announced in WWDC. Okay, so what should be the key takeaway for us as a developer is how Swift is evolved as a programming language to support multi-threading within the programming language itself. So Swift had different framework for handling thread like GCD or NS operations before as well. Okay, those are well tested, well proven framework that has been running from ages since the invention of iOS or macOS. However, they are putting all the thread related solution within Swift itself so that it can grow like different modern programming languages. Okay, how they're emphasizing more on Vision OS and how Apple Intelligence will change the future of apps that works with iPhones, and not only iPhones, this will have their impact on other platforms as well. And yeah, like cross-platform things that goes with Swift and Swift packages for going forward. So I will conclude this discussion today. I think I'll be open for any question if you guys have. So thank you. Uh, I'll be happy to answer any question if you guys have it. I think.